Good afternoon. It's August 2nd, 2024, and today well, let's look at this chart. This chart gives us the clearest picture. So, past like 2 weeks, here's what we've been doing. We had this downtrend, and then we went sideways for a little bit before confirming this channel, and we basically tested the lows. And when we tested the lows, we got a bounce. So you got a double bottom here, boom, double bottom here. It bounced, formed this spike and channel up. They tried to bring it up to hit the measured move. It failed. And that's when it usually goes farther in the other direction or like equally distant. You know, not always, but that's a lot of times what happens. And we got the measured move today to the low side. So that's what we were looking at today. It was pretty obvious. We had this channel here. We got confirmation today with a second entry short right off that trend line. So very easy to spot. So let's take a look on a smaller time frame. I was mostly looking at this chart. So we had this this news item, and that created a big move down. And if you drew a range around that, the midline was right at the opening price. So let's take a look. So we had this gap from the overnight that kind of, when I came in, we were in this congestion and it was like forming a triangle. But I just had a feeling that we were favoring the bears. And so you get this, with the news item, you get this bull breakout that fails and drops down. I mean, really, it looks like it could have went bullish, then bearish, and then come back. And then it just dropped. And so I personally, this is aggressive and it's probably high risk at 29 ticks. But I like that one to ride back to the EMA because this looked like a channel very clearly. And we came up short of the measured move a few times, and then we, boom, rocketed down, went a little further. So that's a higher low, a lot of room back to the EMA, but it's aggressive. Then we come back to the top of the channel and get a lower high. I think this is reasonable. I also think the failed second entry long is reasonable. But, you know, with this overshoot, we could go sideways for a very long time. Come down here, you get another higher low here. At this point, I'd just be a little, you got to be really cautious because we don't, at this point, I wouldn't feel like I know what's going on. And then come up here, you get this double top and then a lower high. Boom. So maybe you consider one of these two. It's just it's a tough call. This looks like a failure, but there's a lot of bars in between that. I just think you gotta wait, and then you get this this bear bar right here, and that's when it drops. And that, I think that was around the time this bar closed. Let's see, 6:48 a.m. Oh, never mind, 7:02. So 6:48. So I think the bear bar probably closed right here. Boom. That's the tail. I bet. Yeah. So if you see all that, I like these. And given that context, boom. Second entry short down here off the EMA. Unfortunately, it doesn't get you much. This looks like a second entry short, but it's above the EMA. 1, 2, 3. So this is like a parabolic buy climax wedge top. You can see 1 push up, 2 push up, 3 push up. So I mean, maybe you consider that one too. Lower high, but finishes with a lot of tail. Goes sideways. You get a failed second entry short, but I think the bias, I think you want to stick with the bias. And this is spike and channel up. You see here, channel, sideways. I mean, maybe you consider this one lower high, but it's really just a lot of overlap. It's not great. And you get this channel down here. Break, sideways, boom, rockets up. I just don't think I could go long in any of this. And really, I mean, once we hit the measured move, for the most part, we were just going sideways for the rest of the day. I think if you had this chart open, boom, take that second entry short off the EMA after we just had, psh, how many bars? Just had 45 bars away from the EMA. So that's a very, very reasonable sell. And it looks like you would have gotten 81.25. About you're risking about 15 points, and it went about 25 points. So you could have gotten 1 times your risk. So anyway, that's how I saw it today. There's one last look at it. I hope everyone has a great weekend.